Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of Rational Wrestling Talk. This is the Rational Wrestling Mark, and this is going to be a late Royal Rumble review, 2024 edition. And listen, off the rip, I thought this Rumble was for a four match card was pretty long. Um, it went over the 12 o'clock mark, and I was expecting this show to be about at least 3 hours. Like you got four matches, right? The Rumble matches, they need all the time that they can get. Then you have the U.S. title match, and you have the WWE Championship match, Fatal Four Way, which that was going to be given some time as well. But for a four match card, this felt very long. And it felt like a chore to watch, to be honest. Um, I did not particularly enjoy this Rumble, but coming into it, there was definitely a lot of excitement, a lot of speculation, a lot of interest, and this Rumble was going to be unpredictable from both sides, from the men's Rumble and the women's Rumble. I think we can all agree that both these Rumble matches, when it came to the outcome, were unpredictable, right? But when it comes to the Rumble matches, you know, you still in the back of your mind knew that Bailey was going to win, but there was also a chance that someone else could realistically win the Rumble, like a Bianca Belair, like a Jade Cargill, like a Becky Lynch, or even the returning Liv Morgan. You had a lot of options on the female side, and on the men's side, you had Drew McIntyre, Gunther. Well, Gunther being the heaviest favorite to win the Rumble. Then you had CM Punk and Cody. Um, Now let me just get into the first matches, the non-Rumble matches. So the U.S. title match, Logan Paul, Kevin Owens. Going into this match, I was expecting Logan Paul to actually beat Kevin Owens clean. To be honest, Kevin Owens has not felt really that important ever since winning the tag team titles at WrestleMania last year with Sami Zayn. He hasn't been heavily valued, and so I thought this was going to be just um, a clean win for Logan Paul. But no, to my surprise, we get a very creative finish that is going to branch out this feud for yet another month, which I'm cool with. I think Kevin Owens and Logan Paul have good chemistry in the ring. There was a good flow to their match that I enjoyed. Logan Paul continues to improve every match, and we all know how great in the ring Kevin Owens is. Um, but that finish, man, when one of Logan Paul's friends, right, he brought the brass knuckles in the ring and tried to take out KO with the brass knuckles. KO caught it just in time, took it off his hand, put it on his hand, and then boom, blasted Logan Paul with the brass knuckles. The referee did not see the blow. We thought, okay, KO is gonna win, right? As the referee is counting the three, just before the three counts, the referee sees the brass knuckles on Kevin Owens. And when I tell you that was a genuine, like, oh my God moment, um, that was a genuine pop because, man, we thought KO was going to win the U.S. title and beat Logan Paul. People were excited. But then when that referee saw them brass knuckles, we were like, oh man. Well, So much for that, you know. Referee had a call for the bell, disqualified Kevin Owens, and Logan Paul is still the United States champion. I really enjoyed the finish. It was unpredictable. It was fresh. It was different, and you know it. I never seen a finish like that before, and it was well done. It was like well executed. Okay, it was well executed. And the fans were like, "Holy crap! Is Kevin Owens gonna win the U.S. title by hitting Logan Paul with the brass knuckles?" You know, and the referee finally does his job correctly. He finally does his job correctly and calls for the bell. So yeah, I thought that was pretty good. Um, so Logan Paul retains, not a bad match. Um, Next we have the undisputed championship fatal four way. Roman Reigns, LA Knight, Randy Orton, AJ Styles. Some people were expecting Randy Orton to win the undisputed championship. And there's no way in hell that was ever going to happen. Um, if Roman Reigns is the longest reigning world champion of the modern era, where he is like 6 to 8 months away from surpassing Hulk Hogan, then there is no way they are just going to have him lose the championship in a fatal four-way match. There's no way that's how his title reign is going to end. And he's not going to get pinned? No. But one thing I noticed in this match was everybody was hitting their finisher on Roman Reigns. LA Knight hit the blunt force trauma on Reigns. They teased LA Knight winning. AJ hitting the phenomenal forearm or Styles clash onto Roman. We thought AJ was going to win. They teased AJ winning. Orton hits the RKO on Reigns. They teased Orton winning. Right? Now Roman in this title match, as every title match that he's in these days, he needed help. Once again, the tribal chief, your head of the table, your supposed dominant world champion needs help. And this is a constant theme of Roman Reigns' title matches. The guy just cannot win a match clean anymore. He beat John Cena clean, right? He actually beat Brock Lesnar clean. If y'all forgot about that, WrestleMania 38 in the main event, he beat Brock clean. He didn't need any help to beat Brock. He didn't need no help to beat Cena. He really didn't need any help to beat Edge and Daniel Bryan. But now he needs help. Needed help to beat Drew. Needed help to beat Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens numerous times, Cody Rhodes, Jey Uso, and LA Knight. And now in this fatal four-way. And I thought all four men looked great, especially the other three. I think Randy Orton, AJ Styles, LA Knight, they're in the best shape of their lives in their career. But this was perhaps the most predictable match of the card, right? Roman, if he's going to lose the championship, it has to be at WrestleMania 40 years of WrestleMania. So it was a decent match, nothing spectacular. The outcome was very predictable, and so now we move on to the my bad, I'm stuttering. We move on to the women's Royal Rumble match. So Bayley comes in at number, I believe number one or number two. I actually forgot what number she came in. Yeah, she came in I think at number one. I'm not quite sure, but I want to talk about the surprises of this Rumble, the Women's Rumble. We saw the return of Naomi, who just got finished up in TNA, and she was your TNA Knockouts champion. Throughout her run there, it was a pretty short run, but Trinity, who was in TNA, she had a pretty good run there. And, it's a good thing that she left and came back. Like she left and added value, added stock to herself, and she comes back and she gets a great reception. And you love to see it. Um, I'm actually very excited to see um, Naomi back. um, in her second run. Let's see where this goes with Naomi coming back. I sense that in the future she's going to be women's champion. I think in the near future. You know, but man, we have the TNA Knockouts champion Jordan Grace. That was a genuine surprise. Um, I thought she fit right in that rumble with the rest of the women, and honestly, man, I think she could be signed to a contract. I think she would fit in well in the women's division in WWE. I think she matches up great with Bianca, you know, Bailey, you know, Ivy Nile, the rest of the women. I think she would. I think she would do great. She's still relatively young as well. So I think once she finishes up her contract in TNA, I think her next move should be the WWE. And, she'll be a welcome addition. Um, and I believe that's all the surprises we have. We saw the return of Liv Morgan. She came in at number 30, and honestly, I wouldn't have been surprised if Liv Morgan won the Rumble because we haven't seen her in quite some time, and she was of the last two last year with Rhea Ripley, and Rhea Ripley was the one that took out Liv Morgan, last July. It would make sense for her to come back, win the Rumble, and challenge Rhea for the title. That would be pretty interesting. She took her out. She took her out of action for months. I mean, if you think about it, you look back when Rhea initially turned heel. Who did she turn heel against? Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan. She turned on Liv Morgan. I think it would make. I think it would make a lot of sense if we did Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley for WrestleMania. If she won the Rumble. Obviously, that's not going to happen because there's other plans. But it was cool to see Liv back. We saw some NXT women involved. Tiffany Stratton, nice to see her. Roxanne Perez, who I think is going to be I think she's going to be one of the best female performers when she comes to the main roster. And she's already great in the ring. Already great. I think she's pound for pound one of the best women's wrestlers that they have. And Tiffany Stratton, um, I just expect her to do pretty well. With her character work, her in-ring ability, her athleticism. She would match up perfect with Charlotte, Bianca, Rhea Ripley, um, Becky again. And then we also had Jade Cargill finally make her debut. And man, did she make a great first impression. She easily picked up Nia Jax, no problem, minimum effort, eliminated her from the Rumble. She had a great show, and I would not have mind also seeing her win. And like I said, like any of those 6 women or 7 women could have won the Rumble. A Bailey, a Bianca, Jay Cargill, even a Naomi, a Liv Morgan, Becky Lynch. Like any of those women could have won the Rumble, and no one would have had a problem with it. I guarantee you. And she was of the last 3 that was in the Rumble. Um, but the story of this match ultimately was Bailey and Damage Control, and then they kind of showed Bailey being disappointed and feeling hopeless because she didn't have help anymore. Asuka, Kairi Sane, who got eliminated, they were there to help Bailey win the Rumble, right? And when they got eliminated, Bailey, sold concern. She sold, okay, what about the plan? Like, I thought we had a plan here. She felt alone. Now she felt like she was not going to win, but no, she wound up winning and, being pretty much the Iron Woman of the Rumble. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, she came in at number 3. I just remembered. She came in at number 3. Number 1 was Natalia. Number 2 was Naomi. So after Naomi got eliminated, Bailey was the Iron Woman of the match. I think over an hour, I believe. So, yeah, that was the story. Because she was expecting help from Kyrie and Asuka, but she still won the Rumble, outlasting 29 other women. And I'm proud of Bailey. I'm proud that she got her moment. Um, Bailey doesn't get a lot of recognition. She don't get a lot of love, and so seeing her win the Rumble match was, I think, it was like a full circle moment. And Bailey's had some WrestleMania success. I mean, you look back at WrestleMania 33, she defeated Charlotte, Sasha, and I believe Nia Jax in a 4-way for the women's title. So she walked in the champion, you know, at WrestleMania. She walked in as champion at WrestleMania before. WrestleMania 33 and 36, when she was a SmackDown Women's Champion, she defended it again in a gauntlet match, I think. Yeah, like some gauntlet match, right? So it's not like Bailey hasn't been a women's champion at WrestleMania. I mean, if it's quite funny because Bailey won those matches. He walked in as women's champion at WrestleMania twice and won both times. So we can't really say that Bailey hasn't had her moment. I get why people would say that because let's just say out of all the 4 horsewomen, Bailey was the least one to be successful. Everybody banked on Sasha, Becky, and Charlotte. Nobody, because everybody counted out Bailey because she was the last one to get called up. All three of Sasha and Charlotte and Becky, 3 of them, they got called up first. At the same time, before Bailey, Bailey got left behind. You know, I think the story has always been Bailey is the 4th wheel of the 4 horsewomen and has always been the one that has been left behind. But if you think about it, when it comes to WrestleMania, she's had more success than Sasha Banks. At least Bailey walked in WrestleMania as women's champion and walked out as women's champion twice, 33 and 36. Now, some of you may not remember those WrestleMania matches because they were so long ago, but I do. I look back and I do the research, you know. But yeah, but she has not won the Rumble. I mean, in fairness, Sasha hasn't won the Rumble either. But the thing is, at least Sasha got the main event WrestleMania, and they're coming from a place of, oh, this is her big moment because she gets to the main event WrestleMania. Well, Bailey's not main eventing WrestleMania. She's not main eventing WrestleMania Night 1. There's no way that Bailey and Io Sky is going to main event WrestleMania Night 1. That is not a big enough match for a WrestleMania main event. It was different with Bianca and Sasha. It was different with Becky, Ronda, and Charlotte. Okay, that was something different with those individual matchups. With Bailey and Io, that is strictly a mid card match. But there's a strong story that is behind it. Eventually, Bailey is going to pull a Batista and is going to challenge Io for the women's championship, and then Damage Control is going to attack Bailey. In Evolution, Batista, he whooped Triple H and Ric Flair's ass after he chose to face him and to stay on Raw, right? But this time it's going to be damage control attacking Bailey. So when that does happen, it's going to be quite a moment, and that's when the babyface Bailey is coming back. So yeah, that women's rumble is very long, over an hour and 15 minutes, extremely long. And all right, so let's get to the main event, the men's Royal Rumble match. First things first, I want to say, Braun Breaker, I thought was so fucking impressive in this Rumble. Braun Breaker literally stood out. Out of all those 30 men in the Rumble, the one that stood out the most to me was Braun Breaker. Man, Braun Breaker he's like Goldberg 2.0. He's like he's like an upgrade Goldberg. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you can even compare him to like young Brock Lesnar from 2002. When he gets caught up, man, it's going to be a game changer. That guy has so much athleticism, so much speed, agility. He's explosive. You want to talk about explosive. You want to talk about just an outburst of energy. Braun Breaker definitely, can definitely go and deliver. And man, when he matched up with Gunther in the ring. Now, let me just say this: not Gunther, Braun Breaker. That was originally supposed to be Brock Lesnar's spot in the Rumble. When Dom threw Braun Breaker over the top rope, that was supposed to be Brock Lesnar. It turned out that the plan for Elimination Chamber was to do a match between Dirty Dom versus Brock. And the way that match would have been set up would be Dom would eliminate Brock Lesnar. And I'm convinced that if Brock was in the Rumble, he would have eliminated Gunther, which would have set up that WrestleMania match, right? And then after he eliminated Gunther, Dom, comes in from behind and just eliminates Brock Lesnar from the Rumble. And then Dom would be on Raw bragging about how he eliminated the Beast. He eliminated Brock Lesnar from the Rumble. and then Brock would squash Dom at Chamber. That's how that would turn out, right? But yeah, Braun Breaker wound up taking Brock's place, which hey, I'm not mad about that. I thought Braun Breaker was well deserved of that spot, and he's been in NXT long enough. It's time to just call him up, man. I would not complain if we do Braun Breaker versus Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania. I would not complain about that at all. I think that would be a great match, and yeah, I think Braun Breaker, if he gets called up before WrestleMania, I would not mind seeing Braun Breaker and Gunther's run as Intercontinental Champion. It would be very convincing. You want to talk about two convincing athletes, Gunther and Braun Breaker. I can buy into Braun beating Gunther clean. It would be believable, right? And people would pop big for that. You know, I think once he comes to Raw or SmackDown, he's going to be huge, man. I was really impressed with Braun Breaker. Um, Once CM Punk came in at number 27, he eliminated Drew McIntyre. But I noticed toward the very end of the Rumble, there was something off about Punk. And first of all, the crowd was not very energetic. You would think filling in over 60,000 seats, and being one of the most exciting pay-per-views of the year, you would think they would be pumped, knowing the expectations, knowing that you had Punk in the Rumble after 10 years of being away from the company. You would think they would be a little bit more pumped up and energetic. So, yeah, it was kind of disappointing in that regard. I think the crowd's reception was very disappointing. And I heard some boos in the crowd directed at Punk when it was just him and Cody. They had, Gunther was eliminated, and Drew was eliminated, and then it was down to Cody and Punk. And it turned out that Punk injured his triceps, his torn his tricep muscle during the Rumble. And I think that Punk was supposed to win. I think at the last minute, there had to be a change. An audible was done, and Cody was the right guy to win. Now, 4 or 5 days removed from the Rumble, um, I understand why Cody won, and I know why he won. I mean, it's very important that he would win the Rumble match, right? That he had to win the Rumble. Because now knowing the extent of Punk's injury and knowing that he will miss WrestleMania, right? And I don't know, man. It's very disappointing because Punk he he kind of messed up WrestleMania a little bit, not all the way, but the guy literally was not in the Rumble for that long. He came in at number 27. This is his first televised match back in 10 years. When it comes to the WWE, right? They don't mention AEW, of course, for for reasons. But just being the Rumble, you're not going to do much. You're not required to wrestle a full-on match. Like the Rumble match is really just a brawl. It's a brawl for all. But the objective is to toss your opponent over the top rope. That's it. So I don't know when he tore his tricep. I have to go back and watch that part. But I don't know if Punk can actually do this going forward. And if he's going to be injury prone all the time, him being in the ring, it may just not be for him anymore. It may just be, it may not be for him anymore. It may just, you know, it's probably not meant to be. Because if you easily injured yourself in the Rumble and you weren't even in it for that long, right? And that's just a Rumble match. Let's not even talk about him being in a WrestleMania match with Seth Rollins. Man, Steph would wrestle circles around Punk. I don't think he can go 20 minutes in the ring with a Roman Reigns or a Cody Rhodes or a Seth Rollins. I don't see it happening without him getting hurt or concussed. So it sucks for Punk, but we're gonna have to wait till next year for Punk to get his WrestleMania moment or his WrestleMania main event. But Cody wins the Rumble, and I like the fact that they showed Seth and Roman as the top champions. Sitting at the drafters seats, way up in the top. Right? They don't really do that. They don't show that very often at all, actually. So I thought that was pretty cool. And Cody obviously is pointing to Roman. Because for Cody Rhodes, and obviously we've all been invested in his storyline of him finishing the story of winning the title that his father never got to win, the WWE Championship. You know, we could, we could had Punk win the Rumble or going to win the Rumble, but someone had to make history. And the WWE and their history making, right? Their history making moments. They always have to have someone make history. The first guy to do this, the first guy to do that. Well, Cody Rhodes is the first guy in 26 years, I think, or I don't know how many years it has been, but the first guy in so long to win a Royal Rumble back to back. The first three to do it were Stone Cold, Shawn Michaels, and who was the other guy? I forgot who. Maybe y'all can remind me in the comment section. Yeah, Shawn Michaels and Stone Cold, and then Cody Rhodes. Listen, we just have to get this over with, because we're not going to be patient much long for Cody to beat Roman. This is the WrestleMania to do it. You don't do this at SummerSlam. You don't do it at Survivor Series. We finished this at WrestleMania, and I think it would be great to cap off 40 years. 40 years of WrestleMania with Dusty's kid winning the championship that his father never won, and finally ending, the reign of terror that is Roman Reigns, to end the Tribal Chiefs, dominant reign, to finally take down the head of the table once and for all. Because that has been the story that was told. And we have to finish it. Like, literally finish it. Because it cannot drag on for another year. This is the time to end it and to move to get to get it over with so that we can move on. And yes, Gunther could have won. Drew could have won. Punk could have won if he was if he didn't get injured. But looking back, I thought Cody was the rightful guy to win. So he's the first guy in over 20 years to win the Rumble back to back. We got to stick to our guns. Triple H is sticking to the plan. There was never in doubt that Cody was going to face Roman at WrestleMania 4. There was never in doubt. There was no doubt that was the plan all along. Just because The Rock came back and said, I want to sit at the head of the table, did not indicate that we're going to get Roman and The Rock at WrestleMania this year, or it was somehow going to interfere with Cody Rhodes, not facing Roman at WrestleMania. No. If we're going to do The Rock and Roman, it should be for WrestleMania 41. That way we have a long-term build, and you just get people excited, and you build up that anticipation and that excitement. Because if we're going to do The Rock and Roman, it has to be at WrestleMania. It has to be at Mania. Because that story in itself is too big. Too big. Like, it doesn't matter what's going to main event WrestleMania Night 1. It doesn't really matter because the main attraction, the main selling point will be Roman and The Rock. That's going to be the true WrestleMania main event of next year. And that needs all the build-up. That needs all the attention. That needs all the creative freedom. It needs all of the stock. It needs all the, it just needs all the attention, right? And a 2-month build is not going to get the job done. It's not. It's not going to work. The Rock in that interview said, he's playing the long-term game. He wants to do this long-term. If he's going to fight Roman, he wants to do it long-term. So that indicated that we are not going to get Roman and The Rock this year, but for next year. First of all, The Rock, he needs time to train. He needs time to prepare, for that match. The Rock, I don't think he's in great ring shape to even do that match this year, right? In order to and I know some people will say, well, we can do The Rock versus Roman, night 1, Cody and Roman, night 2. We could do that, but at the same time, by doing 2 of those matches for WrestleMania, we're actually minimizing the impact that those matches can have at WrestleMania. We're actually minimizing both of those feuds because 2 of those stories cannot coincide with one another. Those 2 stories are separate from one another, and they deserve their own attention, their own, different WrestleMania main events. I don't think we can do that for night 1 and then night 2. And I really doubt that Roman is not wrestling, 2 matches. I doubt that he would. It would be interesting, but it's not happening. We want to move along with the Cody and Roman story first, because that has the most stock right now. And then once we actually build up forward Roman and The Rock for next year's WrestleMania, which they could actually set up with this year's WrestleMania, right? Then people will be fully behind it. We're going to get the Machine behind it, and it's going to garner a lot of excitement. It has not been set in stone yet. We know that Cody and Roman is going to be set in stone. We know that for sure. Let's get this out the way. And then we go all in on the Roman Reigns and Rock Dream match. Then we go all in. No turning back. No we don't hold back. We don't put it off for later. No, we go all in. After Cody finishes his story for good and beats Roman, then we can go all in on Roman and The Rock. We cannot go all in on two, big time storylines, two big feuds, main event feuds. Those two feuds deserve their own separate WrestleMania main event matches. So that's why I think doing those two matches for the WrestleMania for WrestleMania weekend, it's not really a good idea because we don't want to hold up either of those feuds. We want to go all in, right? Because if we're gonna do the Roman and Rock feud, that deserves a lot of attention, right? Just like Cody and Roman deserve a lot of attention. You know, it's gonna take up a lot. It's gonna take up a lot of time, to really perfect those storylines, to get them ready for WrestleMania, to really garner all this excitement. So Cody and Roman for WrestleMania 40 night two main event, and then we could use that match to build up the Rock and Roman to kickstart that feud going into WrestleMania 41. That way all your focus can just be on Roman and The Rock. You can't really focus on two, main event matches like those. You really can't. With Hogan and Andre for WrestleMania 3, that was the main selling point. It wasn't any other match. And that was the match that was going to sell out, that was going to do big numbers at the end of the day. They put all their stock into Hogan and Andre. You had no other match to put your stock into. And if you did, you save that for WrestleMania next year, right? Well, it's kind of like with Cody and Roman. That's the biggest story this year in terms of, you know, wrestling storylines. And then next year will be the Roman and The Rock. So let's focus. I'm going to end off the review by saying this. Let's focus on Cody and Roman and him finishing the story once and for all. Roman's bloodline, crumbling down, crashing down before his very eyes. Let's conclude that. Then we can put all of our focus, all of our eggs, all of our energy, we can put all our time into building toward The Rock and Roman Reigns for next year's WrestleMania. So I'm going to leave it off on that note. Thank you guys for watching, tuning in to this review. Let me know what y'all think down in the comment section. I thought overall the Royal Rumble was decent. It didn't really meet my expectations as much. I found myself kind of getting burnt out watching it. Watching the two Rumble matches. I felt for a 4-match card, it was too long. I mean, it went from 8 to 12. Over 12 o'clock mark, and I thought, it should have ended a little bit earlier, in my opinion. So that being said, this is another edition of Rational Wrestling Talk. This is the Rational Wrestling Mark. Thank y'all for watching, and I'm out.